There's a secret that wealthy people have guarded for centuries, a truth so powerful that those who discover it protect it with their silence, and those who ignore it wonder why their dreams keep dying before they ever have a chance to live. Napoleon Hill spent over 20 years studying the most successful people of his time, and he discovered something that shocked him. The ones who achieved the greatest success were also the ones who spoke the least about their plans. They understood a universal law that most people never learn. And today you are going to discover why you should never tell anyone your plans until they are already accomplished. Napoleon Hill said that there is a strange and powerful relationship between secrecy and success. When you speak about your goals before they are achieved, you release the very energy that was meant to fuel their accomplishment. It is as if you open the lid of a pressure cooker before the food is done. The steam escapes, the pressure drops, and nothing gets fully cooked. Your dreams work the same way. The energy of desire, the fire of ambition, the pressure of necessity, these are the forces that drive you to take action. But when you talk about your plans prematurely, you release this pressure and rob yourself of the motivation you need to follow through. Before we continue, I need you to do something important. Write in the comments right now, "I protect my dreams." These 4 words are a declaration of wisdom. They are a commitment to guarding what God has placed in your heart. Right now, I protect my dreams. And if this message is resonating with your spirit, subscribe to this channel. Activate the bell so you never miss a teaching. Like and share with someone who needs to hear this truth. Each share plants a seed of wisdom that can transform a life. Napoleon Hill taught that when you share your plans with others, you invite their opinions, their doubts, and their limitations into your vision. Most people do not mean to harm you. They think they are helping when they point out all the reasons why your dream will not work. They think they are protecting you when they remind you of everyone who has tried and failed. But what they are actually doing is planting seeds of doubt in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. And those seeds, if left unchecked, will grow into weeds that choke your vision. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 4:23 to guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. Your heart is where your dreams live. Your heart is where your vision is nurtured. Your heart is where faith takes root and grows into reality. And God instructs you to guard it above all else, not some things above all else. This means protecting your dreams is not optional. It is essential. It is the difference between those who achieve and those who only wish. Napoleon Hill observed that the most successful people he studied had learned the art of strategic silence. They did not broadcast their intentions. They did not seek validation from others. They did not need approval before they took action. They simply worked in silence and let their results speak for them. This was not arrogance. This was wisdom. They understood that words have power, and sometimes the most powerful thing you can do with words is not speak them at all. Think about the times you have shared a dream with someone and they responded with doubt or criticism. How did that feel? Did it energize you or drain you? Did it strengthen your resolve or weaken it? For most people, negative responses from others plant seeds of hesitation that grow into reasons to quit. Napoleon Hill called these people dream stealers. They are everywhere. Some of them are strangers, but many of them are friends and family who genuinely love you but cannot see beyond their own limitations. The Bible tells us in Matthew 7:6 not to cast your pearls before swine. This sounds harsh, but the meaning is profound. Your dreams are precious pearls that God has placed within you. They are valuable beyond measure. And when you share them with people who cannot appreciate their worth, you are casting pearls before those who will trample them underfoot. Not everyone deserves access to your vision. Not everyone has earned the right to speak into your future. Choose wisely who you allow into the sacred space of your dreams. Napoleon Hill discovered another reason why sharing plans prematurely sabotages success. He called it the law of premature satisfaction. When you tell someone about your goals and they respond with praise and encouragement, your brain experiences a small burst of satisfaction. It feels almost like you have already achieved something. And this feeling, though pleasant, is dangerous because your brain does not distinguish between the satisfaction of actually accomplishing something and the satisfaction of merely talking about it. So when you receive praise for a plan you have not yet executed, your motivation decreases. You have already gotten the emotional reward. So why put in the hard work? This is why so many people announce their goals publicly and then never follow through. They have already consumed the satisfaction that should have come from completion. Napoleon Hill taught that you should let your actions speak louder than your words. Do not announce what you are going to do. Simply do it and let the results announce themselves. There is wisdom in moving silently toward your goals. There is power in keeping your plans between you and God until the appointed time of revelation. The Bible tells us in Ecclesiastes 3:7 that there is a time to keep silence and a time to speak. Knowing the difference between these times is one of the greatest skills you can develop. The time to speak about your plans is after they have manifested. The time to keep silence is while they are still in formation. When a seed is first planted, it needs darkness to germinate. If you dig it up to show people, you kill it. Your dreams are the same way. They need time in the darkness of secrecy to develop roots, to gather strength, to prepare for their emergence into the light. Napoleon Hill said that silence is the great ally of the successful. In silence, you conserve your energy. In silence, you protect your vision. In silence, you allow your subconscious mind to work without interference. And your subconscious is far more powerful than your conscious mind. It works 24 hours a day processing information, solving problems, attracting opportunities, but it is easily disrupted by the negative input of others. When someone expresses doubt about your plans, that doubt penetrates your subconscious and begins to work against you. When you keep your plans silent, you keep your subconscious focused entirely on achievement. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 17:28 that even a fool who keeps silent is considered wise. When he closes his lips, he is deemed intelligent. There is profound truth here. Silence is not weakness. Silence is wisdom. Silence is strategy. The fool broadcasts his every intention. The wise person moves in quietness, working steadily, progressing consistently, achieving remarkably. And when the achievement is complete, then and only then does he reveal what he has done. Napoleon Hill interviewed hundreds of successful people, and he found that they all shared this characteristic. They were not boastful about future plans. They did not seek attention for what they intended to do. They simply worked with focused determination and let their accomplishments speak for themselves. One industrialist told Napoleon Hill that he never discussed his business plans with anyone outside of those directly involved in executing them. He said that loose lips sink ships, and he ran his enterprise like a captain guarding military secrets. This was not paranoia. This was proven wisdom from a man who had built an empire. Consider this truth carefully. When you tell people your plans, you give them power over your emotions. Their approval can make you feel validated, but then you become dependent on approval. Their disapproval can make you feel discouraged, and then you become vulnerable to discouragement. But when you keep your plans to yourself, you remain emotionally independent. Your motivation comes from within, from your connection to God, from your burning desire, not from the fickle opinions of others. This independence is the foundation of true strength. Napoleon Hill taught about the importance of what he called the Mastermind Alliance. This is a small group of trusted individuals who share your vision and support your goals. This group is different from the general public. These are carefully selected people who have earned your trust, who believe in you, who will guard your dreams as carefully as you do. With these few, you can share your plans, but even then, share only what is necessary. The mastermind is not for bragging or seeking validation. It is for strategic collaboration. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 11:13 that a gossip betrays a confidence, but a trustworthy person keeps a secret. Choose your confidence wisely. Not everyone who smiles at you is trustworthy. Not everyone who claims to support you actually does. Watch how people handle small secrets before you trust them with big ones. Those who gossip about others will gossip about you. Those who share other people's confidences will share yours. Protect your dreams by limiting access to them. Napoleon Hill said that your definite major purpose, your chief aim in life, should be written down and kept private. You should read it to yourself twice daily, morning and night, but you should not share it with those who might discourage you. This is not about being secretive in a negative way. This is about being strategic in a powerful way. You are protecting the vision that God gave you. You are guarding the seed until it has time to grow. You are being a faithful steward of the dream entrusted to your care. There is another reason to guard your plans that Napoleon Hill discovered through his research. He called it the law of opposition. When you announce your intentions publicly, you awaken opposition. People who might never have noticed you suddenly become aware of your ambitions. Competitors who might have ignored you now see you as a threat. And even well-meaning friends might unconsciously work against you because your success would highlight their own lack of progress. By keeping your plans silent, you avoid activating this opposition until you are strong enough to overcome it. You grow quietly while others are unaware. You build strength while potential opponents sleep. And by the time they realize what you are doing, you are already too far ahead to catch. The Bible tells us in Nehemiah 2:12-16 about how Nehemiah kept his plan to rebuild Jerusalem's wall secret until the right moment. He inspected the walls at night so others would not see. He told no one what God had put in his heart to do. He moved in silence and secrecy until the time was right. And because of this wisdom, he was able to accomplish what others said was impossible. Learn from Napoleon Hill. Learn from the countless successful people who achieved their dreams through strategic silence. Your plans are sacred. Your vision is valuable. Your dreams deserve protection. Do not sacrifice them on the altar of premature disclosure. Do not trade your future accomplishments for a few moments of attention. Today, let me share with you what happens in the spiritual realm when you speak about your plans too soon. Napoleon Hill understood that thoughts are things that they have real substance and power. When you hold a thought privately, it builds energy, it intensifies, it gains momentum. This concentrated mental energy is what eventually breaks through into physical reality. But when you speak about this thought before it has accumulated enough power, you disperse the energy. It scatters into the air. It loses its concentrated force. This is why some people talk endlessly about their dreams but never achieve them. They have learned to enjoy the talking instead of the doing. They have developed the habit of releasing energy through words instead of channeling it into action. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 14:23 that in all labor there is profit, but mere talk leads only to poverty. All talk and no action is a recipe for failure.
And one of the best ways to ensure you take action is to stop talking about what you plan to do. Let the energy that would have gone into words go instead into work.
Let the pressure that would have been released through conversation build up until it explodes into accomplishment. Napoleon Hill taught that successful people are people of action, not just words. They understand that every word spoken about unaccomplished plans is energy wasted. They prefer to let their results do the talking. And when you adopt this mindset, everything changes. You stop seeking validation and start seeking victory. You stop announcing and start achieving. You stop talking and start transforming. This shift in behavior is one of the most powerful changes you can make from this day forward. Decide that you will be known by what you do, not by what you say you are going to do. There is also the matter of spiritual warfare that Napoleon Hill touched upon in his work. He understood that there are invisible forces at work in the universe, forces that respond to human intention. When you keep your intentions secret, you protect them from negative spiritual forces that would seek to derail them. When you announce them publicly, you put a target on your back. You invite attack before your defenses are fully built. The Bible tells us in Ephesians 6:12 that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. These forces are real, they are active, and they often work through the words and attitudes of other people. When someone discourages your dream, they may be an unwitting instrument of opposition. When you protect your plans through silence, you give these forces nothing to target. You move beneath the radar of resistance. You advance without attracting the attention of your adversary. Napoleon Hill would tell you that wisdom is knowing what to say. Intelligence is knowing how to say it, but true genius is knowing when to say nothing at all. Cultivate this genius. Practice the discipline of silence. When someone asks about your plans, you do not need to lie. You can simply say that you prefer to let your actions speak when the time is right. You can redirect the conversation. You can keep your sacred vision safe while still being kind and sociable. This is not deception. This is discretion. And discretion is praised throughout the Scriptures as one of the highest virtues. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 2:1 that discretion will protect you and understanding will guard you. Notice that discretion is described as protection and guarding. This is because the wise person knows that not everything should be shared with everyone. Some things are meant to be kept between you and God until He says it is time to reveal them and your plans, your dreams, your visions for the future. These are among the most precious things you possess. Guard them accordingly. Napoleon Hill observed that there is a direct relationship between silence and power. Those who talk the most often accomplish the least. Those who talk the least often accomplish the most. This is not coincidence, it is cause and effect. Talking dissipates energy. Silence conserves it. Talking invites interference. Silence prevents it. Talking seeks external validation. Silence cultivates internal strength. The choice is yours, but the consequences follow automatically. Consider the great achievers throughout history. How many of them announced their plans before executing them? Very few. Most of them worked quietly, steadily, persistently. They surprised the world with their accomplishments rather than boring the world with their intentions. They understood what Napoleon Hill taught, that the world rewards results, not promises. Anyone can make a promise. Anyone can declare an intention, but only those who follow through earn the rewards of success. And following through is much easier when you have not wasted your energy on premature announcements. Let me speak now about the relationship between faith and silence. Napoleon Hill discovered that the most successful people had deep faith in their ability to achieve their goals. This faith did not require external validation. It came from within, from their connection to infinite intelligence, from their relationship with God. When you need to tell others about your plans to feel good about them, your faith is weak. When you can hold your plans in silence and still believe in them with absolute certainty, your faith is strong. Strong faith produces strong results. Weak faith produces weak results. And one of the best ways to strengthen your faith is to practice trusting God with your dreams without requiring human approval. The Bible tells us in Hebrews 11:1 that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. True faith does not need to be seen by others to be real. It exists in the invisible realm before it manifests in the visible realm. And during this time of invisibility, silence is your greatest ally. You are believing in something that others cannot see. Talking about it to those without faith will only create friction. But holding it silently in your heart allows it to develop in peace, to gain strength, to prepare for its grand emergence. Napoleon Hill taught about the subconscious mind and its incredible power to manifest your desires. The subconscious works best when it is given clear instructions and then left alone to do its work. When you constantly talk about your plans, you are interrupting the subconscious. You are pulling up the seed to check if it is growing. You are interfering with the very process that creates success. But when you give your subconscious a clear goal and then maintain silence about it, you allow it to work uninterrupted. It will find ways to achieve your goal that your conscious mind could never conceive. It will attract people and opportunities that seem miraculous. It will guide your actions with intuition and insight that comes from nowhere you can identify. This is the power of the subconscious working in silence. The Bible tells us in Mark 4:26-28 about the kingdom of God being like a man who scatters seed on the ground. Night and day, whether he sleeps or gets up, the seed sprouts and grows, though he does not know how. All by itself, the soil produces grain. This is how your dreams work. When you plant them in silence and let them grow without interference, the growth happens automatically. The process works invisibly. You do not need to understand exactly how it works. You simply need to plant the seed, protect it, and let it grow. Talking about your plans is like constantly digging up the seed. It interrupts the natural process. It prevents the automatic growth that would otherwise occur. Napoleon Hill would tell you to plant your intentions deep in your subconscious through visualization and affirmation. Then guard them with silence while they germinate. Then act consistently while they grow. And finally celebrate openly when they bear fruit. This is the natural cycle of achievement. Do not skip steps. Do not rush the process. Trust the timing. Now, let me address those who might say that sharing your goals creates accountability. Napoleon Hill heard this argument many times. Some people believe that announcing their plans publicly motivates them to follow through because they do not want to look like failures. But research and experience show that this rarely works as intended. More often, people become paralyzed by the fear of public failure, or they change their goals to match what others expect rather than what they truly desire, or they give up quietly and hope nobody remembers what they said. True accountability does not come from public announcements. True accountability comes from your relationship with God and your commitment to your own vision. When you are accountable to God for the dreams He placed in your heart, you do not need human audiences to motivate you. The divine assignment is motivation enough, the burning desire that Napoleon Hill described as fuel enough. When your why is strong enough, you do not need external accountability. You are driven from within by forces that no public announcement could ever match. The Bible tells us in Colossians 3:23 to work heartily as for the Lord and not for men. Your ultimate accountability is to God, not to your social media followers, not to your friends and family, not to the people who might judge you if you fail. When you understand this, you are free from the need to announce your plans to others. You are free to work in sacred silence, knowing that the only audience that truly matters is already watching. Napoleon Hill emphasized that your definite major purpose should become an obsession. It should occupy your thoughts constantly. It should drive your actions relentlessly. And obsessions do not need to be advertised. They do not require approval. They simply burn within you until they consume every obstacle and manifest in physical reality. Cultivate this holy obsession. Let your dreams become so important to you that you do not need to talk about them. Let your goals become so real in your mind that external validation is unnecessary. Let your faith become so strong that silence is more comfortable than speaking. This is the path of the truly successful. This is the way of those who achieve greatness. This is the wisdom that Napoleon Hill discovered and that you are now receiving. Protect your dreams, guard your plans, work in silence. Let your success make the noise. There is profound power in surprising people with your results rather than boring them with your intentions. When you announce a plan and then achieve it, the reaction is mild. People expected it because you told them it was coming. But when you achieve something great without any prior announcement, the reaction is amazement. People are stunned because they had no idea. The impact is greater. The testimony is more powerful. The glory goes to God rather than to your promotional abilities. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 27:2 to let another praise you and not your own mouth, a stranger and not your own lips. Self-promotion is unattractive and often counterproductive. But when your results speak for themselves, others do the promotion for you. When you achieve in silence and reveal completion, the praise comes naturally and authentically. Napoleon Hill observed this pattern in every genuinely successful person he studied. They did not need to promote themselves. Their achievements promoted them. Their results opened doors. Their track record spoke louder than any words could. This is the reputation you want to build, not as someone who talks a good game, but as someone who delivers extraordinary results. Let me share with you a practical approach for implementing this wisdom. From this day forward, when you set a new goal or make a new plan, write it down. Keep this written statement private. Read it to yourself twice daily. In the morning when you wake and at night before you sleep, visualize the accomplishment as if it has already happened. Feel the emotions of success. Thank God for the achievement in advance. Then go about your daily actions in silence, working steadily toward your goal without announcing your intentions to the world. This practice taught by Napoleon Hill has transformed countless lives. It will transform yours as well if you apply it consistently. The key is consistency. Do not do this for a week and then give up. Do it daily for months and years. Make it a permanent part of your success ritual. Guard your dreams like the treasures they are, and watch how everything in your life begins to shift as you harness the power of strategic silence. Napoleon Hill said that one of the greatest obstacles to success is the need for approval. People want others to validate their dreams before they pursue them. They want permission. They want encouragement. They want applause. But waiting for these things is a trap. The validation you seek from others is actually validation you must give yourself. The permission you need is permission from God. And He has already given it through the very dreams He placed in your heart. The encouragement you require is the encouragement that comes from faith, from knowing that everything works out for those who trust the process. The Bible tells us in Galatians 1:10 that if Paul were still trying to please people, he would not be a servant of Christ. You cannot serve God and human opinion at the same time. You cannot chase your divine destiny and popular approval simultaneously. At some point, you must choose. And the wisest choice is to pursue your God-given purpose regardless of what others think, regardless of whether they approve, regardless of whether they understand. Keep your plans between you and God. He is the only approval you need. Napoleon Hill interviewed a man who had built a massive fortune after experiencing complete failure multiple times. This man said that his turning point came when he stopped telling people what he was going to do and started just doing it. He said that every time he had announced his plans in the past, something went wrong. But when he learned to move in silence, everything started going right. He could not explain exactly why this worked. He just knew from experience that it did. And Napoleon Hill found this same pattern repeated in person after person. There is something mystical about silence. There is something powerful about secrecy. There is something that defies logical explanation, but cannot be denied by those who experience it. The Bible tells us in Psalm 46:10 to be still and know that God is God. Stillness and silence are connected. When you are silent about your plans, you create space for God to work. When you are constantly talking, you fill that space with your own noise and leave no room for divine intervention. Be still. Be silent. Know that God is working all things together for your good, and trust that He will reveal your success at the perfect time in the perfect way. Napoleon Hill taught that success consciousness is developed in quietness and confidence. The noise of announcement and self-promotion disturbs this consciousness. The silence of focused work cultivates it. You are developing success consciousness right now. As you absorb these truths, you are being programmed for achievement. You are being prepared for the life you have always dreamed of. But this preparation requires your cooperation. It requires you to practice what you are learning. It requires you to guard your dreams starting today. Make a commitment right now. Commit to strategic silence about your plans. Commit to letting your results speak for you. Commit to trusting God with your dreams instead of seeking human validation. This commitment will change everything. It will change how you think, how you act, how you feel, and ultimately, how you succeed. The Bible tells us in Isaiah 30:15 that in quietness and confidence shall be your strength. Your strength comes from quietness. Your power comes from confidence that does not need external validation. Your success comes from trust in God that does not waver based on human opinion. This is the foundation upon which empires are built. This is the secret that Napoleon Hill discovered in every great achiever. This is the wisdom that you now possess. Use it, apply it, live it, and watch your life transform. As you go forward from this moment, remember what you have learned. Never tell anyone your plans until they are accomplished. Guard your dreams like the treasures they are. Work in silence. Let your success make the noise. Trust God with your visions. Reject the need for human approval. Build your faith through private practice, not public announcement. And when the time is right, when the work is complete, when the victory is won, then you can reveal what God has done through you. Napoleon Hill dedicated his life to understanding success. His research revealed universal principles that work for everyone who applies them. And this principle of strategic silence is among the most powerful. He discovered it has worked for centuries. It will work for you, but only if you apply it. Only if you have the discipline to keep quiet when everything in you wants to share. Only if you have the faith to trust the process without requiring human validation. This is your moment of decision. Will you guard your dreams, or will you continue to give them away? Will you work in silence, or will you announce every intention? Will you let your results speak, or will you drown them out with premature words? The choice is yours, and the consequences of that choice will shape your entire future. The Bible tells us in Revelation 3:1 to hold fast what you have, that no one may take your crown. Your dreams are your crown. Your visions are your inheritance. And there are forces that want to take them from you. Do not let them. Hold fast. Guard carefully. Work silently. Trust completely, and one day soon you will wear that crown openly. You will walk in the fullness of your purpose. You will live the life that God destined for you, and everyone will wonder how you did it. But you will know it started when you learned to never tell anyone your plans. Napoleon Hill would be proud of you for receiving this wisdom. God is pleased with you for seeking to steward your dreams well, and your future self will thank you for the discipline you exercise today. Go now in silence. Go now in power. Go now in the absolute confidence that everything you are working toward is on its way to manifestation. Guard your dreams. Protect your plans. Trust the process. And let your success make all the noise it needs to make when the time is right. Now declare this commitment with me. Say it in your heart. Say it with conviction. Say it as a covenant between you and God. I protect my dreams. I work in silence. I trust God with my plans. I let my results speak for me. And so it is, and so it shall be. Remember this moment. Remember this decision. Remember this wisdom. From this day forward, you are different. You think differently. You act differently. You guard what is precious. You protect what is sacred. You move in strategic silence towards strategic victory. Everything is changing for you now. Your dreams are safer than they have ever been. Your success is closer than it has ever been, and your future is brighter than you have ever imagined. Go in peace. Go in power. Go in the protective silence that leads to spectacular success. But before you go, let me share with you even deeper wisdom about the power of silence and the protection of your dreams. Napoleon Hill discovered through his extensive research that there are specific types of people you must be especially careful around when it comes to your plans. He called them the dream stealers, and they come in many forms. Some are obvious: the critics, the cynics, the people who have never achieved anything and resent those who try. But others are more subtle and therefore more dangerous. The subtle dream stealers are often the people closest to you. They are your family members who love you but fear for you. They are your friends who care about you but cannot see beyond their own limitations. They are the people who say things like, "Be realistic," or "Play it safe," or "Do not get your hopes up." These words, spoken from what seems like love, are actually poison to your dreams. They plant seeds of doubt that grow in your subconscious and slowly kill your vision from within. Napoleon Hill taught that you must protect yourself from these subtle dream stealers by simply not giving them access to your plans. You do not need to argue with them. You do not need to convince them. You do not need to prove anything. You simply need to keep your dreams safe by keeping them silent. The Bible tells us in Matthew 10:16 to be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. This is the balance you must strike. Remain loving and kind to everyone, but be strategically wise about what you share and with whom you share it. Not everyone deserves to know your plans. Not everyone has earned the privilege of speaking into your future. Be a dove in your heart, but be a serpent in your strategy. Napoleon Hill also taught about the energy of expectation. When you keep your plans secret, you build up a powerful energy of expectation within yourself. This energy is like a coiled spring ready to release into focused action. Every day that you hold your vision silently, this energy increases. Every moment that you resist the urge to share, this spring coils tighter. And when you finally release this energy into action, the power is extraordinary. But when you talk about your plans prematurely, you release this energy through your words instead of your actions. The spring uncoils without producing any forward motion. The expectation dissipates into conversation, and you are left wondering why you feel less motivated than before. This is the energetic reality of premature disclosure. It drains the very power you need to succeed. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 21:23 that whoever guards his mouth and tongue keeps his soul from troubles. Your soul, your inner being, your deepest self is kept from trouble when you guard your words. The troubles that come from premature disclosure are many. Discouragement from critics, diluted motivation from premature satisfaction, activated opposition from competitors, interference from well-meaning but misguided advisors. All of these troubles can be avoided simply by guarding your tongue, simply by keeping your plans between you and God until the appointed time. Napoleon Hill observed that timing is everything in the revelation of plans. There is a right time to share and a wrong time to share. The wrong time is when your plans are still fragile, still developing, still vulnerable to outside influence. The right time is when your plans have been executed, when results have been achieved, when the work is complete, and the victory is undeniable. At that point, sharing becomes celebration rather than vulnerability. It becomes testimony rather than testing. It becomes inspiration for others rather than invitation for opposition. The Bible tells us in Ecclesiastes 3:1 that to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. There is a season for silence and a season for speaking. Wisdom is knowing which season you are in right now. For the dreams that are still in formation, you are in the season of silence. Honor this season. Embrace this season. Use this season to build your dream strong enough to withstand any future scrutiny. Napoleon Hill said that the person who cannot control their tongue cannot control their life. This is a strong statement, but it is true. Self-discipline in speech is one of the clearest indicators of self-discipline in all areas. If you cannot resist the urge to talk about your plans, how will you resist the urge to quit when things get hard? If you cannot control your words, how will you control your actions? The discipline of strategic silence builds the discipline muscles that you will need for every other challenge on the path to success. Start practicing this discipline today. The next time you feel the urge to share your plans, pause, take a breath, ask yourself whether this sharing is truly necessary or whether it is simply ego-seeking validation. Ask yourself whether this person has earned the right to know your plans or whether you are casting pearls before swine. Ask yourself whether this is the right time or whether you are releasing energy that should be reserved for action. If you ask these questions honestly, you will find that most of the time the wisest choice is silence. Napoleon Hill interviewed a woman who had achieved remarkable success in business despite facing tremendous obstacles. She told him that her secret was simple. She never told anyone what she was planning to do. She just did it. She said that early in her career she had made the mistake of sharing her goals with others, and the discouragement she received almost destroyed her dreams.
She learned from that experience. She learned that her dreams were too precious to be exposed to unbelieving eyes. She learned that her plans were too important to be polluted by doubting voices.
And from that day forward, she worked in complete silence until her results spoke for themselves. Napoleon Hill found this same pattern repeated in countless successful people. They had all learned, often through painful experience, that sharing plans prematurely was a mistake. They had all discovered, sometimes after devastating failures, that silence was their ally. And they had all made the commitment to protect their dreams through strategic quietness. Now you have this wisdom without having to learn it through painful experience. Now you can apply this principle from the very beginning of your journey. Now you can protect your dreams before they are damaged instead of trying to repair them after they have been broken. The Bible tells us in James 1:19 to be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. Being slow to speak is a virtue that serves you in every area of life, but especially in the area of your dreams and plans. Quick speech often leads to quick regret. Slow speech leads to strategic advantage. The person who thinks before they speak, who considers whether speaking is truly beneficial, who chooses words carefully and timing wisely, this person has a massive advantage over those who speak impulsively about everything. Napoleon Hill taught that the subconscious mind is always listening to your words and the words of others about you. When you speak positively about your plans, your subconscious is encouraged. But when others speak negatively about your plans, your subconscious absorbs that negativity. By keeping your plans silent, you control the input into your subconscious. You ensure that only positive, faith-filled thoughts are planted there. You prevent the contamination that comes from negative external voices. This is not just psychological wisdom. This is spiritual protection. The Bible tells us in Philippians 4:7 that the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. When you keep your plans between you and God, His peace guards your heart and mind. When you expose your plans to the world, you expose your heart and mind to attack. Choose divine protection over human exposure. Choose the peace of God over the chaos of public opinion. Choose strategic silence over vulnerable disclosure. Napoleon Hill found that the most successful people had an almost mysterious quality about them. They were not secretive in a suspicious way, but they were reserved in a powerful way. People could sense that they knew things they were not sharing. People could feel that they had plans they were not revealing. And this mystery created an aura of power around them. They were taken more seriously because they did not trivialize themselves with constant chatter. They commanded respect because they demonstrated self-control in their communication. You can develop this same quality. You can cultivate this same presence. It begins with the simple decision to stop broadcasting your every intention. It continues with the discipline to remain silent even when you want to share. And it culminates in the mysterious power that comes from strategic reserve. People will begin to see you differently. They will take you more seriously. They will recognize that you are someone who does rather than just talks. Let me share with you one more dimension of this wisdom. Napoleon Hill discovered that when you share your plans with others, you often unconsciously modify your plans to fit their expectations. You start with a bold vision, but after hearing someone's cautious response, you scale it back. You begin with an ambitious goal, but after encountering skepticism, you lower it. Over time, your dreams shrink to match the limited imagination of those around you. But when you keep your plans silent, they remain pure. They stay true to the original vision that God placed in your heart. They are not contaminated by other people's limitations. They are not reduced to fit someone else's comfort zone. The Bible tells us in Ephesians 3:20 that God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think. Your plans should reflect this exceedingly abundant God, not the small thinking of the people around you. When you protect your plans through silence, you protect their size. You maintain their boldness. You preserve their God-given scope. And when they finally manifest, they reflect the greatness of the God who inspired them, rather than the smallness of the humans who might have influenced them. Napoleon Hill taught that your definite major purpose should make you a little uncomfortable because of its size. It should stretch you. It should require faith. It should be big enough that you cannot achieve it alone and must rely on God. But these big purposes are especially vulnerable to being shrunk by the opinions of small-minded people. Protect your big purpose through strategic silence. Let it grow in the darkness of secrecy until it is strong enough to withstand the light of public scrutiny. Let it develop roots deep in your faith before you expose it to the winds of criticism. Let it become an unshakable reality in your subconscious before you test it against the doubts of others. This is wisdom. This is strategy. This is the path of the truly successful.
There is something else that Napoleon Hill discovered about the relationship between silence and success. He found that silent workers are often the most trusted people in any organization.
When you demonstrate that you can keep your own counsel, others begin to trust you with their confidences as well. This trust opens doors that are closed to those who cannot control their tongues. Opportunities come to the discreet that never come to the indiscreet. Partnerships form with the reserved that never form with the revealing. Success flows to the silent that bypasses the talkative. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 20:19 that a gossip betrays a confidence. So avoid anyone who talks too much. This verse reveals a universal truth. People avoid those who talk too much. They distance themselves from those who cannot keep secrets. They withhold opportunities from those who might broadcast them prematurely. but they draw close to those who demonstrate discretion. They share opportunities with those who prove trustworthy. They partner with those who know when to speak and when to remain silent. By practicing strategic silence about your own plans, you develop a reputation for discretion that attracts success in unexpected ways. Napoleon Hill observed that the universe seems to reward silence in mysterious ways. He could not fully explain it scientifically, but the pattern was undeniable. Those who kept their plans quiet consistently achieved more than those who broadcast their intentions. Something about silence seemed to preserve and concentrate the energy needed for accomplishment. Something about secrecy seemed to protect plans from the forces that would derail them. Perhaps it is simply that silent workers spend their energy on action rather than conversation. Perhaps it is that secret plans are not exposed to the attacks of critics and competitors. Perhaps it is that the subconscious works more effectively when not interrupted by external input. Or perhaps there is a spiritual dimension that transcends natural explanation. Whatever the reason, the pattern is clear. Silence succeeds where noise fails. The Bible tells us in Zechariah 2:13 to be silent all flesh before the Lord, for he has roused himself from his holy dwelling. There is something sacred about silence. There is something powerful about quietness before God. When you hold your plans in silent communion with the Creator, you invite his involvement in ways that public announcement cannot achieve. Your silence becomes a prayer. Your secrecy becomes an act of faith. Your quietness becomes a demonstration of trust in God rather than dependence on human approval. Napoleon Hill would tell you that the most important conversation about your plans is the one you have with yourself and with God. This internal conversation, repeated daily through affirmation and visualization, is far more powerful than any external conversation could ever be. When you affirm your plans to yourself with emotion and conviction, you program your subconscious for success. When you visualize your plans already accomplished, you create the mental blueprint that reality will follow. When you pray over your plans in secret, you invite divine assistance that public announcement would forfeit. This internal work is the real work of achievement. External conversation is often just distraction disguised as action. Talking about your plans feels productive, but it is not. It is consumption rather than creation. It is release rather than retention. It is dissipation rather than concentration. Do the internal work in silence. Let the external results speak in their proper time. Let me also address the fear that some people have about keeping their plans secret. They worry that if they do not tell anyone, they will not be held accountable. They fear that without public commitment, they might give up too easily. But Napoleon Hill discovered that this fear is unfounded. The strongest accountability is not to other people. It is to yourself and to God. When you write down your definite major purpose and read it daily, you are held accountable by your own conscience. When you pray over your plans and ask for divine assistance, you are held accountable by your Creator. This accountability is far stronger than any human accountability could be. The Bible tells us in Romans 14:12 that each of us will give an account of ourselves to God. This is the ultimate accountability. You are not primarily responsible to your social media followers or your friends or your family. You are responsible to the God who gave you your dreams in the first place. And this accountability operates in secret. It does not require public announcement. It requires private commitment and faithful action day after day until the work is complete.
Napoleon Hill taught that the mastermind principle can be applied even in silence. You can hold mental conversations with great achievers of the past. You can imagine their advice and wisdom. You can draw inspiration from their examples without ever revealing your plans to a living soul. This internal mastermind is available to you at any time. You can consult with the wisdom of Napoleon Hill himself through his writings. You can learn from the examples of biblical figures who achieved great things through faith. You can receive guidance from the infinite intelligence that speaks through your intuition. None of this requires you to tell anyone your plans. All of it is available in the sacred silence of your own mind and heart. Use these resources. Draw from this well. Build your success on the foundation of internal strength rather than external validation.
There is one more thing that Napoleon Hill wanted you to understand about the power of never telling anyone your plans. He discovered that success often comes faster to those who work in secret. When you announce your plans publicly, you create pressure that can be counterproductive. You feel rushed. You feel watched. You feel judged. And these feelings can lead to mistakes, to shortcuts, to compromises that undermine your ultimate success. But when you work in secret, you can take the time you need. You can make mistakes and correct them without anyone knowing. You can experiment and adjust without public scrutiny. You can develop your skills and refine your approach without the pressure of an audience. This freedom leads to better work. This patience leads to stronger foundations. This secrecy leads to success that is built to last. The Bible tells us in Matthew 6, as 1-4, about doing good deeds in secret rather than for public recognition. Jesus said that when you give to the needy, do not announce it with trumpets. Do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your giving may be in secret, and your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. This principle applies not only to giving, but to all aspects of achievement. What is done in secret is rewarded openly. What is built in silence is revealed in glory. What is protected from premature exposure grows to fullness and produces abundant fruit. Napoleon Hill would remind you that everything you have learned today is useless unless you apply it. Knowledge without application is merely entertainment, but knowledge applied becomes transformation. So make the decision now. Commit to strategic silence about your plans. Commit to guarding your dreams like the treasures they are. Commit to working quietly and letting your results make the announcement. This commitment will change the trajectory of your life. It will protect your dreams from premature death. It will conserve your energy for action rather than wasting it on words.